Welcome to the Scottsdale Vibes Podcast. I'm your host, Alicia Haygood. Each week, we feature the amazing people, places, and events of Scottsdale, and I am so excited to have my favorite Scottsdale real estate agent, Shawn Shackelton, with me today, because as we all know, the market is crazy, and it has been. I feel like this is a word we've used for like the past 3 years, Shawn, but it's always a different kind of crazy when we check in with you. So
that it is.
Let's start with what's on everyone's mind is the interest rates. We've seen them go up, down, we've seen them go up, 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 and now they're kind of around that 7% mark. Fill me in, teach me, get your crystal ball out, Shawn, and what is going on?
So we're over 7% right now on the interest rates. And again, I just want to put this caveat out there. We are over 7%, but understand that everybody's interest rate is going to be different based on their credit and their debt to income ratio and all the things. So
lots of factors.
If you look online, there's just so many things that go into it. But if you look online right now, you're going to find that interest rates are about 7.3% right now.
Okay.
And I think that buyers, at least the buyers that I'm talking with right now, they're still kind of crossing their fingers, hoping that home prices are going to come down. I just had a buyer leave town after being here for a few weeks. And we made an offer on one property while he was here after we were looking. And he was really surprised because we were up against 5 offers.
Wow. Still like that right now.
It's still like that for really good properties, even though the prices are not going down and the interest rate is high and it's gone up.
Yeah.
So again, I don't know if anybody has seen the most recent article that they interviewed Barbara Corcoran, but she has basically said that home prices are not going to go down. I think everyone has established they're probably just going to level off for really good properties. They are going to go higher. I mean, that house that I just talked about with multiple offers did go for above list price. It didn't go extremely over list price, but it did go above list price.
Okay.
There was another house that we looked at as well, and that one had multiple offers and went above list price also. So it is still happening, but not to the extremeness that we saw just a few years ago. But when interest rates go down, and they will, we are going to see all those buyers jump back in the market, which is just going to make home prices go back up. So there's that,
okay.
that whole thing of like, well, when is the right time to get in the market? And I am not one that says that absolutely everybody should be buying right now, because everybody's situation is different.
Right.
But if your situation is such that you can afford it and you can get in the market right now, I do think it's a good time to buy.
Talk to me a little bit about, speaking of Barbara, what do we think the interest rates, are we going to see them drop a little bit? Do we think they're going to kind of stay around this rate to kind of equal out the market in general?
Yeah. From what everybody is saying, they feel like the interest rates are going to stay about here, like in the 7s, right around the 7s for a little while, and then it's going to start dropping. Now, I just spoke to somebody yesterday who's a financial planner, and he is hearing that we're going to start seeing a sliding, kind of a rolling recession. So it's going to start hitting in different places at different times, which makes much more sense instead of like this, bam, everybody's in a recession.
Which I think is, I'm not a financial expert, economist or anything. To me, that sounds kind of better because it's not a huge hit to everyone at the same time.
Yeah. There was just an article about layoffs for, a car company here. Sorry, I'm forgetting the name of it, but the layoffs for them, maybe it wasn't a car company, maybe it was an electric company. I'm sorry, I can't remember. Anyways, but that was the first thing that I've heard about as far as layoffs are concerned, since we heard about the tech layoffs that were happening last year.
Yeah.
So I think we are going to see that. But again, as soon as we hit quote unquote recession, that's when interest rates start falling.
Okay. That's interesting.
Do I think that they're going to plummet quickly, which is normally what happens when we see a recession? I just think everything's going to be different this time.
Well, I hope that we've learned our lessons.
Yeah. Well, the thing is like when you look back at all the different recessions that we've had and the kind of the spikes in the market, over the past even 15 years, anytime we've had a recession, the interest rates plummeted pretty quickly.
Okay.
But I don't know that that's going to happen this time. I think that what we're going to see is we're going to start seeing it start slowly sliding. Again, I think next month when Jerome Powell and that they all meet again to decide whether or not they're going to raise the interest rate, the Fed fund rate again.
Yeah.
That is going to be somewhat telling. I feel like people are 50-50 on whether that's going to happen or not right now. But again, most of the people in the financial world and things like that I speak to, they're like, I just think the two things. One, I think that what he's done had to happen. I think he did it too late.
Yeah, I've
When they
heard the
started
same
it,
thing.
it happened way too late. Now they've been so aggressive that they're really hoping that just give it another pause. Just give it another pause. Let things catch up. Our inflation numbers are looking much better. So just give it a little pause and don't overcorrect. Don't overcorrect us into a problem. So hopefully that happens. But overall, I mean, with the housing market, the reality is that our supply and demand, we still have an issue with that.
Yeah.
Our supply is still really, really low. Our demand has weakened, but it's still there.
Yeah.
And this is why the new home builders right now, they are cashing in because they have got homes, they can sell homes that are new, that are pretty, that are, all the things that everybody wants. Now
All
they're
the bells
in
and
areas that
whistles.
they're in areas that maybe are a little bit on the outskirts of where people might want to be. But there's a lot of the outskirt areas that we've got in the, in the valley that they're booming right now. Like as far as like jobs coming in, that 303 corridor on the west side.
Yeah.
There are a lot of jobs coming over there.
That's
and there are a
just
lot
it.
of high paying jobs.
Yeah, that's just it. Well, let's talk about that a little bit. You've done a few videos on your YouTube channel. Go check it out. Shawn has a great YouTube channel to help us understand the market as a whole. New construction, as you just kind of brought up, is a big thing. Talk about the difference of like buying a home and getting like a new construction home, and those are kind of different loans as well. How does that really work?
Well, they're buying a resale home and buying a new construction home. They're the same loan. You're doing a conventional, you're doing an FHA, VA, something like that. The biggest difference is that when you're going into a new home construction community, oftentimes they have either their own in-house lender or they've partnered with a lender, and they're sometimes offering incentives. But because again, their traffic has picked up so much and the demand for those houses have picked up a lot more, their incentives have dwindled a little bit, but they've had to kind of balance that with their home prices. So they're seeing stuff sell a lot. And right now, as far as the number of homes that are being sold,
Mm-hmm.
the new home construction is kind of outpacing resale right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then everybody, of course, wants to always talk about foreclosures, but
Where?
we just
Not here.
we just don't have them coming.
We don't.
We just do not have them coming. I mean, here's an article from the Cromford, or a little clip from the Cromford Report on August 15th. And it says the Mortgage Bankers Association has just reported that the mortgage delinquency rate has fallen to the lowest level since they started tracking the metric back in 1980.
Wow. I mean, that says a lot. That's good. We don't need that to happen again with our housing market like we did in 2008.
No. Right, exactly. I mean, and that's the thing that I think everybody started seeing kind of the signs or what felt like what happened in 2008, and just everything has been different. And I think the good thing about it is that people are being very cautious with their credit.
Mm-hmm.
I know people want to say, oh my gosh, credit is going through the roof. Everyone's using credit cards. That's true to an extent, but it's not everybody. I mean, not everybody is like, maxed out debt wise.
Right.
And people that bought their houses, I mean, they put a lot of money down.
Yeah.
And they have really good interest rates. And, then there's that whole thing that everyone's talking about right now where people are locked in. They're kind of handcuffed to their house because of the interest rate. Well, right now, yeah, some might feel that way. But again, as time goes on and those interest rates start falling, they're going to feel a little bit more fluid to move from the house that they've had to buy another house. And then we're going to start seeing more homes come on the market. But I just don't think that we're going to see, we have a long way to go to get back up to the inventory that is where our normal inventory is. We have a long way to go because our inventory is still so low.
That's crazy. I know. Well, and I think that goes to what you just said is like when the interest rates start going down and people feel more comfortable moving, we'll see more houses come up for sale because more people will want to jump on, okay, we've been here, it's time to expand or time to downsize or, kind of
right.
that kind of thing.
Right. And I mean, again, I think this year, I think people forgot about the seasonality of our market.
Yeah.
And this year, I think, is the first year we've seen that normal seasonality in our market for, 2-3 years.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So everyone's like, oh my gosh, everything's starting to slow down in the summertime. Like, oh my gosh, the demand is gone and, the prices are going to come down. Well, it's normal for us to see that.
Funny how quickly we can forget things.
I know. Well, I mean, all of our realities were shifted pretty drastically.
I agree.
Pretty drastically. It's just, but now it's just getting back to remembering that. And, but I mean, really for buyers that are out there, patience is the thing I talk to them about the most. I mean, I've got a buyer right now that, she really, really, really wants something, and she wants something really specific, and that's okay. I love sometimes when they're that specific, because then I know what they want.
Mm-hmm.
And when I see it, I can say to them, this is it. We need to move quickly. This is what you've been waiting for.
Agreed.
If they're still really, really open, it just takes a little bit longer to kind of pinpoint what it is that they really want. But for a few of my buyers, like I can't find houses for them to buy. And I've got buyers in the $1 million price point, $3 million price point. I've got one that'll spend $8 to $10 million, and I can't find anything.
Wow. And I mean, that says a lot, because that's our market and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that just goes to show you why Shawn Shackelton is the best. She knows everything from what's going on to, like you just said, to understanding, tell me exactly what you want so I know what to bring you and we don't waste time. Because that's the most important thing either. Have the patience and make sure that you wait for what you want and don't settle. And that's what you do for your buyers. And I appreciate you for that.
Of course. It makes my job easier.
And
I just like to see happy faces.
That is true.
I like to see happy faces.
Well, you can find out how to find Shawn more in the description of this episode, or go visit theshackletongroup.com. Shawn, thank you so much for representing Scottsdale and all the buyers here. When we come back, we'll have Courtney Fox at the table with me. Buying a home can be scary and sometimes frustrating. But all of that can go away with the right realtor. And that's where Shawn Shackelton with the Shackelton Group is here for you. Shawn has over 25 years experience in real estate. She's here to get you what you want and won't settle for less. She's experienced, knowledgeable, and understands this market, which these days is always changing. Take the stress out of your next home purchase by calling Shawn at 480-734-7277. You can also find her at theshackletongroup.com. You might recognize the face before the name, but Courtney Fox is no stranger to the limelight. Quitting corporate America in 2015, Courtney decided her passion was going to become her purpose and become a full-time yoga instructor. As a former state champion competitive gymnast, Courtney understands the balance between effort and surrender. I personally am better at surrender, but I'm learning how to put in that extra effort. She wanted to help others learn the importance and benefits of yoga, making yoga more than just a one-off thing, but making it a habit in your life. So Courtney, thank you for taking the time to sit with me today. Right before we started recording, you're like busy. You're going to a shoot after this. You have been working already this morning. How are you? Welcome to the podcast. And I really want to start with just you. You're a former state champion gymnast, so competitiveness is definitely in your genes. Talk about what fitness means to Courtney Fox.
Sure. Yeah. First of all, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here. So fitness, just wellness and mindfulness has become such a huge part of my life, just from, a gymnastics and dance background, and like having movement be such an important part of everything that I do. And then being able to share that with other people and kind of turn it into more of a lifestyle than anything else is just my joy now. So
I love that. Well, it says a lot. Corporate America, I've done a stint there a few times. It's a lot. It takes a lot out of you. It is a 24/7 job. It really is. So when you think about fitness and when you think about yoga, many people think of it as like holding movements, meditation, breath work, and everyone's like, I can't do that. Oh, I don't have the time or whatever. What is yoga? What does it mean to you, and what are you trying to get the real purpose of what yoga is for people?
Great question. So yoga, there's actually 8 limbs of yoga, and the physical asana part is only one of those 8 limbs. So you've got meditation, you've got the breathing, you've got non-harming, all these other aspects that come into the full understanding of what yoga is. But we usually start with the asana. And there's all different types of yoga. We have more relaxing, deep stretch yin yoga. We have restorative. And then we have the more upbeat yoga, which is kind of my bread and butter, vinyasa yoga. And for example, the studio that I teach at Modern Yoga, we play hip hop music. It is hot and sweaty in there.
Oh, okay.
It's a fun time.
I love it.
So it's a good way to kind of get into it.
It is a lot. It is different. It is part of the whole package of fitness. I've kind of started getting back into it. I go through stints. I feel like so many of us go through stints. Consistency is the key to anything in success, no matter what that task may be. I have found the older we get to, the more we need it. Probably should have started it sooner. I was telling you earlier, like I was in my workout class this morning. I was like, oh my gosh, my back is killing me. And it's just stiff from not moving. We sit a lot. We drive a lot. We are a stagnant kind of society. What are some important things? If we could do something for 5 minutes, what would be something that you would suggest?
And you hit the nail on the head. That's exactly what I always say. Just roll out your mat and just stand on it for 5 minutes. I guarantee you'll start to move a little bit, but just take that first step and give yourself some grace. If you move twice in 1 week, great. But then you can add on. Start with 5 minutes, add to 10, add to 15. And then soon enough, you've got an hour practice 5 days a week. Or even if you're just walking, moving your body. So
how do we get more into a habit? What do you teach to get people to really understand? Because that's what you did with this. I mean, that's your purpose. You quit everything else you're doing in life, the competitiveness, the corporate America. Why this? Why would this become your purpose?
Yeah, so I think first to answer your question, just kind of scheduling in, like if people like us that are entrepreneurs, very busy, just scheduling a meeting with yourself. Like this is my 10 minutes or my 30 minutes, and nothing can touch that meeting. And you don't even need a mat. You can just step out of your chair and just do some stretches. But then that will bring more mindfulness back into your day. So when you do sit back in your desk chair or onto your next meeting, you have a little more awareness and a little more peace, and your intuition is better connected. All those things kind of align.
You did a lot of schooling. You're not just like, hey, I took a class online and now I'm going to be your yoga instructor. Talk about the process, because you are 500 hours of a certification. You do a lot of events that we're going to get into as well. So tell me how that process goes and went to make sure like people understand you're legit.
Sure. Yeah. And that's very important to me. I'm very alignment based. I'm always a student. I'm constantly taking more trainings. I've had the opportunity to study with some of the most world's renowned yoga instructors. And it's just been such a blessing. So I have my 500 hour, and then I've done probably 2,000 hours of just continued education. And like I said, I'm constantly doing that. And now I'm able to teach in other teacher training programs and teach teachers. So it's been
full circle.
Yeah, it's been such a blessing.
Well, let's take a short break. When we come back, Courtney's more than just a yoga instructor. She does so many events here in Scottsdale for us. She really is. She was born and raised here. You talk about giving back to your community. Courtney really lives up to that. So let's take a short break. We'll be right back. When it comes to family-friendly dentistry, there's only one place in Scottsdale, and that's Arizona Center for Laser Dentistry. Teeth cleaning, innovative, pain-free laser dentistry, teeth whitening, root canals, and really any dental need you may have, Dr. Rob and his staff at Arizona Center for Laser Dentistry can handle it all. They're more than just a dentist, they really are family. We've been going there for over 3 years, and my family loves them. When your kids get excited to go to the dentist, you know you've got a good one. Dr. Rob DeVito is the only dentist in town that can handle it all. Give him a call at 480-990-1905. You can find him on the web at drdevito.com. And don't forget to tell him you heard him on the podcast. Courtney, you've been on the cover of magazines. You're a local celebrity. You may have seen her eating some ice cream. Is that allowed in yoga? Because I'm an ice cream fan, especially in this heat. You're the mom of Cold Stone Creamery Right Now commercials. You do skincare lines. You really take care of the community. So talk to me about growing up here in Scottsdale, what that means to you, and why you really wanted to stay here and give back to what helped bring you up.
I'm born and raised in Scottsdale, Arizona. So just from everything, I've grown up around gymnastics, sports, swimming, all those things. And then even just the connections I've made through entrepreneurs and just people who are constantly giving back to the community. I've always admired those people and wanted to do the same. And so community events are my bread and butter. That's been just like lights up my life. And so, for example, we have Yoga in the Outfield coming up. That's October 14th at Salt River Fields. We have about, probably 800, 900 people out there practicing yoga. Yeah, it's incredible.
Oh my gosh.
And then we stay after, and there's a bunch of vendors and clothing companies and local businesses that come, and you can kind of shop around. And then I also teach at the X Phoenix. It's called the Create Your Energy Wellness Festival.
Okay.
So we do like a 3-part workout. It's HIIT, Pilates, and yoga. And then again, we stay for a big after party and network and connect. So those have been such a blast.
Did you help start those? How did you get in to be like the face and the voice of these events?
Yeah, kind of just through my networking here in Arizona, and just wanting that mutual understanding to give back to the community and bring people together for a higher purpose.
I have a friend that just moved here, and she did yoga in the outfield at Salt River in the spring, because y'all do a fall and spring, right?
We do.
Okay,
Yep.
And so she did the one in the spring. I have yet to go, so now that I called myself out, I'm going to go in October with
Yay.
you. So, but she loved it, and she went by herself. She knew no one. It was a very last-minute thing, and she was like, it was so cool. She was like, the energy of the people around there. She goes, and you see everything from trying to lift their leg up and just like being there with a friend to support them to like, okay, I'm not going to look at them because I look like a fool, like.
And that's what's most important to me about yoga, is making it approachable, playful, and fun, and not so rigid. And, it's good to know the alignment and things like that, but
Right.
I want it to be this, like, you leave and you want to come back and do it again and again.
What do you think is your biggest accomplishment? You quit corporate America in 2015 to set out on this path. It's been 8 years now. What did you see from 2015 to where you're at now, Courtney?
Oh, gosh. I think just continuing to learn. I would say that's my biggest, just staying humble and continuing to be a student.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not 24/7. It's part of a balance effort in life and everything you do. What else can we do to incorporate yoga into our life in that sense?
So I think just the mindfulness aspect of it, even like when you're eating your lunch, do you have your computer out while you're eating? Are you really taking the time to be present and take each bite and think about what you're eating? It's that full circle thing. And then even just talking to people, like, are you thinking about what you have next? Are you really, truly in the moment?
Yeah.
And meditation can help a lot with that, even if you just sit for 2 minutes in your morning and just observe your breath coming in and flowing out and not thinking about your day and all the things you have to do.
You have, you and your husband are active. You have some puppies as well. Talk to me about what you like to do in your spare time. And I hear that your husband can cook too. Am I right?
Yes, I'm very lucky. He is the best. He just made me a wonderful breakfast this morning. He has his own food truck called From the Wildfire.
Okay.
So our favorite thing to do is go out to eat and try new restaurants and just research and development.
From the Wildfire, tell me more about that.
Yeah, so he started his own food truck in 2020, built it with his own hands. It's
Wow.
a piece of art. So he is all around the valleys in Mesa, Phoenix, Tempe, Scottsdale, and you can follow him on Instagram From the Wildfire.
What's their specialty?
So he's like an artisan Chipotle. It's burritos,
Okay.
tacos, bowls, but they smoke the carnitas for 12 hours. They have vegan options as well.
Okay.
And then a bunch of custom sauces that are out of this world.
Your eyes just rolled. You were like, oh my gosh, I can taste them right now.
I know I'm biased, but I'm telling you, like, unreal.
And your dogs allow this to happen for him to like smoke the meat for 12 hours?
Oh, yeah. They love him. He gets home from work and they're just licking him. He smells like smoke.
Favorite place to go hiking around town?
Piestewa Peak is my favorite.
Okay, that's a good one. I've done that. Have you ever met the drummer that you hear out there?
No.
Have you ever heard the drummer?
I have not heard the drummer.
You need to go around sunrise.
Okay.
And there's always a drummer out there. I've never seen him.
Very
I don't know
cool.
anyone that has seen him. So if anyone knows, but you can always hear him and he'll play for like an hour while you're hiking up in the sunrise.
How cool is that?
Yeah. So go do
Mysterious
that.
drummer.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's really cool. It's really cool. Courtney, before we wrap up, I'm excited to ask you this because you are a local, and I feel like I met a couple more locals, but you are a rare breed. There's such an influx of
We are.
people here. What is your favorite Scottsdale vibe?
My favorite Scottsdale vibe is a good brunch.
Oh,
just
okay.
Outdoor brunch vibe. And like if there's a wellness spin on that too, obviously I love that. Maybe like yoga and brunch outside.
Okay, of course there is with you. I bet you're not the one that like prays over every meal. You're like, let's take some deep breaths and enjoy this meal together. That's probably what your friends
Guide some breathing before we eat. Yeah.
And you're just like taking in those flavors.
My friends pretend to love it. Yeah.
Fantastic. Listen, go check out Courtney and all of her events like she just told you about. We'll have all that in the description of this episode and our newsletter. Don't forget to sign up for it at scottsdalevibes.media so you can find out more information about Courtney and all the amazing things going on here in Scottsdale. Visit her website at CourtneyScheber.com. That's CourtneyScheber.com. Again, all of this will be in the description of the episode. Thank you so much for joining us, Courtney. I will let you get back to your busy day of photo shoots, feeding kids ice cream, and more. Stay tuned. We'll have the calendar of events coming up next.
Thank you so much.
When it comes to protecting you, your family, and all your assets, you need to have someone that you can trust. And that's Jeremy Mueller of State Farm Insurance. Jeremy Mueller has lived in Scottsdale his whole life. How can anyone else know your needs more than someone who's been here and seen it all? Jeremy and his team are always ranked in the top % at State Farm. He cares, he's knowledgeable, and most importantly, he's always available. Don't believe me? Give him a call at 480-515-5223 or find him at jeremymueller.com. Get ready for some fun Scottsdale. Glow Golf at JW Marriott at Camelback is happening this Friday night, September 1st from 7 to 9 p.m. with a putt-putt glow party. Just $25 for a family pack of 4, and go ahead and make a staycation out of it for the long Labor Day weekend. For more information, you can call 480-797-7361. And the Arizona Black Rodeo is back again at Westworld. Come and see the hottest show on dirt starting Friday, September 4th at 7 p.m. You're sure to find an event to suit your rodeo needs. Cowboys and cowgirls are coming to town to compete for a grand prize of over $25,000. So get there early as it's sure to fill up like in the years past. And for all you 80s fans out there, Parks and Rec's Rewind 80s Night is happening Saturday, September 2nd from 6 to 9 p.m. at the Scottsdale Civic Center. This free family event will transport you back in time to the beloved decade of neon colors, big hair, and unforgettable memories. Groove to the electrifying beats of live music and show off your best moves at the Neon Dance Party. Vibrant vintage market and a retro arcade are packed with classic games. There'll be food trucks, a cocktail garden, and more. You can find out more about everything that's going on in the description of this episode or check us out on YouTube at Scottsdale Vibes channel. Don't forget that we are now the proud owners of Scottsdale City Lifestyle, so we are all about Scottsdale and all the amazing people, places, and events that are happening around town. If you or anyone you'd like to know would like to come on and be a guest or advertise with us, we'd love to hear from you. Have a wonderful week, Scottsdale. Keep vibing, and I'll see you around town.